Hi divas, welcome back on my YouTube channel. Today we're talking about a non-subject in the LGBT community, which is Comphet, down low women, a straight woman that you think are straight but don't realize they're actually lesbian or bisexual. That's why the theme of today is Comphet down low women, straight women who are in competition with you for male attention might be lesbian or bisexual. So you may ask, what is Comphet? Compulsory heterosexuality. I prepared certain points to talk about going further, and I've also collected studies and articles that you can check in the bio below that I've linked. You can also check it out. I've put the links down there. So I'm gonna read that for you. So what is compulsory heterosexuality? Compulsory heterosexuality, often shortened to Comphet, is the theory that heterosexuality is assumed and enforced upon people by a patriarchal, performative, allonormative, and heteronormative society. The term was popularized by Adrienne Rich in her 1980 essay titled Compulsory Heterosexuality and Lesbian Existence. According to Rich, social science and literature perpetuate the societal belief that women in every culture are believed to have an innate preference for romantic and sexual relationships with men. She argues that women's sexuality towards men is not always natural but is societally ingrained and scripted into women. Comphet described the belief that society is overwhelmingly, did I pronounce that right? Put in the comments, I don't think so. Overwhelmingly heterosexual and delegitimized queer identities. As a result, it perpetuates homophobia and legal inequity for the LGBTQ+ community. Adrienne Rich argued that heterosexuality is not normal or intrinsic to humans, but is a political institution that supports the patriarchal domination of men over women in society. And feminine literature still functions under a heterosexual paradigm. True. She believes that feminist authors do not adequately acknowledge that institutions such as marriage are merely socialization that have been internalized by accent and reproduced in society. Bear with me. This institution defines the standard for sexual and romantic relationships and alienates those outside these standards. Rich originally wrote this essay to challenge lesbian erasure in the majority of feminist literature. She says the article was not written to ostracize or divide people, but as a call to action for heterosexual feminists to look upon heterosexuality as an oppressive political institution and to help dismantle and change it. She urges these women to direct their attention towards other women and says that lesbian existence is a natural extension of feminism. So that's the broad definition of what being Comphet is. So second point that I noted, the question is, why would straight women still be in denial of their own LGBTQ+ identity? And what are the signs someone might be a down low lesbian still dealing with Comphet? Some of those women are born and raised in patriarchal families, which delays their own awareness of their own sexuality. And I've put an article from a website which is called Springer in the link below if you want to check the whole article. And the article is called Brothers Increase Women Gender Conformity. So when you come from a patriarchal family, being surrounded by men like a father and brothers naturally influence you in more traditional gender roles. And you can look deeper in that article, it's very long, so I'm not gonna read all of it, but you might be a lesbian bisexual, but if you're raised in like patriarchal, maybe even misogynistic families, how could you know you are a lesbian and bisexual when the gender roles are enforced that you are a biological woman and you should fulfill your role? The conclusion of that study and article was that girls raised with brothers in more traditional patriarchal families became more gender conforming over time because of difference in parenting and family socialization. And the researcher argued this happens because parents in mixed sex households tend to parent sons and daughters differently. So daughters become more exposed to traditional femininity, father invests more in sons, mothers invest more in daughters, and girls become more aware of appropriate female behavior. So it's clearly a behavior that is taught by their own parents, their own siblings, and also it might also be the culture where they come from. Maybe it also could be religion or the town they're coming from, because there are more towns that are more conservative or with patriarchal values than other city or towns. So if family system can strongly shape girls' gender conformity and ideas about acceptable femininity, those same pressures will also influence how a girl feels exploring or expressing a queer identity. So the number one cause that someone could still think they're straight and Comphet and not lesbian or bisexual would be that the family, the environment they come from, they were raised in this type of household and this type of society will teach little girls that you are straight, you're not allowed to question yourself. I mean, if you see the fairy tale, the Prince and Princess movies, cartoons about love and romantic love, it's always the Prince Charming who comes to save the princess. You know, this tell you love story, you only see straight relationship mostly in the old time, in the past, a long time ago. Now we see more LGBT movies and cartoons and series, but I really do think it's really recent. It did not happen overnight. So yeah, even when I was younger, since I was a child, a little girl, I don't remember even once seeing like a movie or series about lesbian love, bisexuality. It's really taboo because from what I realized in this society, it's okay and cool when there's like millions, if not thousands of straight movies and cartoons and series, but the straight get so mad and angry when there's even just one lesbian movie, one series about gay men, and they want to come back with that type of homophobic attitude, like you're doing something wrong by doing movies about gay and lesbian. But I think representation is needed in the LGBT community, because how can you know you're gay and lesbian, even if you are? But you have to have the knowledge, and if you don't have a representation, you don't have movies, you don't have series, you don't have people speaking about the sexual orientation, how could you know? Most if you are raised in like a Christian household, in a religious household, and you are taught to be obedient to God and to the man, is supposed to be the leader, the boss of the house, and you should submit to your husband. And on top of that, then you see on TV all these movies and series about this girl your age or teenagers who falls in love with the prince and live a fairy tale together. How could you know that there would be a different path for you? How would you know that there would be something else for you that was available to explore if you don't have the knowledge in your mind that it could exist? So I think that's why maybe some women who are in, in more conservative families or extremely religious, extremely patriarchal families, or in extremely, parasitic, misogynistic, patriarchal towns, even same for gay men. When you're in this type of towns, extremely religious, patriarchal, misogynistic, as a gay man and a lesbian when you're younger, you cannot guess that you might be gay or a lesbian, because all you see around you are repeated constantly in the church every time you go or even on TV, you only see straight people and straight relationship and how good it is to be straight. So even if you feel there's something weird going on inside of you, that you might not be attracted to the man. If you're a woman, you might not as a man be attracted to that girl. But that person at the church said that you might be a great match together, but you're not. We all have an intuition, and we can feel when something is wrong. And so that's when I move to my next point. Girls with brothers become more traditionally feminine. So this type of household around a lot of men, but it doesn't have to be. Sometimes the father is such a strong father figure, and if you come from an extremely religious family, you could also only have sister and still think by you straight, because God says, the scripture says, and pastors are really good in twisting things and pretending you're burning in the lake of fire. We're going to talk about that later on in the video, on how homophobic some churches are, which delays your awakening that you might be a gay man, a lesbian, bisexual. But this study was about brothers and the influence being around a lot of men, your dad, brothers, or even if it's not your brother, in an extremely masculine-led society. Maybe in your town there is more men than women, which leads to women with brothers who are more likely to choose traditionally feminine careers, avoid male-dominated STEM fields, choose more traditionally masculine male partners, adapt more strongly to traditional motherhood roles. The researcher interpret this as increased conformity to traditional gender norms. So more traditional, the straight family, the husband, the kids, the wedding, which is normal when you're raised in that type of environment. That's all you know, so you do it and you listen to your parents and you obey. The effect that was the strongest in traditional patriarchal families, the fathers work more than the mothers, families at traditional gender divisions, parents at stereotypically gendered careers, and households reinforce traditional masculinity, femininity. And the effect largely disappeared in more gender equal families. The study suggests it wasn't simply having brothers that mattered. It was growing up in a traditional family system that emphasized gender roles, which is what happened in patriarchal families and society in general, which is widely spread and promoted around the world. That study also talks about how fathers from those patriarchal families emotionally invested more in sons. Fathers spend less quality time with daughters when there was also a son in the household. Mothers spend more time with their daughters. Parenting became more gender segregated. Researchers found fathers helped less with daughters. Fathers had worse relationship with daughters in mixed-sex sibling households. Daughters were pushed towards traditionally feminine development. This is one of the strongest parts of the study. Girls learned femininity partly through differentiation from brothers. The study suggests girls with brothers become more aware of gender expectation, more aware of appropriate female behavior, more likely to separate themselves from masculinity. The researchers connect this to lower competition, lower STEM participation, stronger feminine socialization, which connected to Comphet, femininity as performance, pressure to embody acceptable womanhood, fear of deviating from heterosexual femininity. Also, this study talked about motherhood that intensified traditional gender behavior. One of the biggest findings after women became mothers, women with brothers experienced larger career and earning drops. They accumulated less work experience. They adopted more strongly to traditional mother roles. And again, this was mainly true in traditional families. And there's nothing wrong with traditional families. It's if that's what you like and you believe in, but it's just wrong in the sense that there might be a lesbian hiding in your family that would think she's straight because of the way she's raised. So she's going to live a lie and be delusional for years, and she could put her own self into deep sadness, depression and misery because she doesn't realize the truth about herself. And for sure, the effect of this entire patriarchal family The effect carried into the next generation, so the descendants. The study found daughters of these women showed stronger gendered academic patterns, stronger language performance relative to math, inherited more traditional gender socialization. The researchers argue traditional gender norms were being transmitted across generations. So who knows, you might have a lesbian sister, or you are yourself a lesbian in your family and you thought you were straight your entire life, but since it happened in this generation, you might have had an aunt or a grandmother was a lesbian, but since they were raised in such a patriarchal family, when everything was structured for the submission of women to men, and all of this makes you realize that we might have had more female family members, ancestors that might have been secretly lesbian, but they did not even know. That's why I always say the gay, the lesbian will come out. When you have an ancestor that couldn't live the truth of being a gay man or lesbian or something like that, you can tell in the descendant they have someone coming out, and then that older person, that aunt or that mom, inspired by you or something, ends up coming out like years later, even if they were married for like 20 years to a man, which I find really interesting. So exposure to gender stereotypical behavior in the family environment shapes women's interests, choices, and behaviors. This study doesn't claim brothers or patriarchal families determine sexuality, but it does show that traditional family systems strongly shapes girls' ideas about femininity, gender conformity, motherhood, and acceptable womanhood. In some cases, the same pressure may also make it harder for women to recognize or express queer attraction. Now let's talk about the religious part, because the problem is not just the patriarchal family and society in general, it's also a lot of lesbians and also other gay men or bisexuals might also not be able to come out and realize they are lesbians and might be into compulsory heterosexuality because they are religious and they are from religion, whatever religion you are, Some religious beliefs that comes from different religions that are mostly patriarchal, badly influence women and cause fear of the unknown, of exploring their own lesbian and bisexual identity. Some religious texts are used out of context by pastors and churches that are extremely homophobic and are meant to make women fear God and hell, like burning in the lake of fire for eternity, going in hell if they become lesbian, bisexual. But the church or different religion, they're homophobic to everybody, not just lesbian, even gay men, bisexuals. That's just the way they are. So our religion uphold patriarchy and a traditional lifestyle. And I'm gonna link you guys to another article in the bio. Credit to all the people who created this amazing article, this masterpiece, which are not me. I've been written talking about my own opinion in the entire video, but those articles are not from me. So that article is called Religion and Negative Attitude Towards Homosexuals, an analysis of urban young people and their attitude towards homosexuality. So again, it's pages, the article. You can check it down below in the link below. I'm gonna read a little bit of it and share a resume, a small part together of what it talks about, but I cannot read the entire page because we will be there for like 4 hours. So, public opinion research has repeatedly shown that a religious person reports more prejudice against homosexuality when compared to the non-religious counterparts. This article contributes to a better understanding of this relationship by studying attitude of youth in 2 of the three largest cities of Flanders. The ethnic and religious heterogeneous population of these cities allows us to empirically disentangle the relevance of both religious involvements, strong versus weak, and the specific religious conviction with respect to negative attitudes of the relationship between religiosity and the latter attitudes. among youth than what has been achieved so far for both Christian and Muslim believers. We found more negative attitudes toward homosexuality even after controlling for authoritarianism and a more traditional view on gender roles. Although boys appear in general more negative towards homosexuality than girls, the gender gap among young Muslims was twice as large when to non-Muslims. Then a small introduction of the article if you're interested. Research shows that lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender LGBT young people are regularly the victims of non-verbal assaults. This confrontation proved to be consequential. LGBT people have a higher risk for school problems, substance abuse, and decreased self-esteem, possibly accompanied by suicidal thought or behavior. And this is so true. I mean, they're just so right. I've known a lot of people who were gay and lesbian and down low. They could not come out to their family because their family was extremely violent. Some of them physical violence, some of them were religious, some of them were not religious that much, but they were an extremely patriarchal family. That's why I think this video is very important to make. I've seen it all. It's true. They had a drug addiction, suicidal thought, they wanted to die, and that's why y'all need to leave the LGBT alone. They have done nothing wrong. Loving someone is not abuse, it's not violence. The same way straight people are allowed to love their lover, their counterpart, people from the LGBT, gay, lesbian, bisexual should be allowed to also live in peace on this planet and love who they love. Because last time I've checked, loving someone is not a crime. So then we were talking about the drug, the suicide, the substance abuse. Combating prejudice against LGBT people remains high on the political agenda. These policies are formed by the observation that negative attitude towards homosexuality are a good predictor of homophobic behavior. Young people with a negative attitude to the LGBT are more likely to show anti-gay aggression, such as bullying, gay peers, gay bashing, and the denial of gay rights. And I want to make a pause on that from my own experience of watching people in the world, people who are straight and mind their business, who are actually straight and love women and men like each other. I've never seen them being obsessed with the LGBT. They're minding their business, bitch. I mean, my parents are friends with a gay couple. I'm a lesbian myself. And even I remember my dad, I think it's like a gay man liked him, and he took it as a compliment, as a joke. There was no homophobia. That's what happens, I think, when you're secure in your own sexuality, whether you're straight, bisexual, or you don't know yet, you think you're straight, you might be bisexual, but like you're not bothering anybody, you're not harassing, bullying people. But what I've seen, it's always them, the most homophobic men on the planet, who are obsessed with gay men and the rest of the LGBT rally, you know, when the LGBT come on the street and they sing and dance together. There's always straight men. They are the maddest angry at gay men, and they're so obsessed with them, talking about them. They can't keep their name out of their mouth, and it's always the gayest man. You have to check. Me, I don't watch porno, but a lot of people watch porno. We have to watch on the porn side what they're watching behind their white back, probably gay porn. That's my opinion. It's always them. The most homophobic gay man on this planet is secretly a gay man on the down low. Because with straight men who love their wife, they will never be obsessed about the LGBT. They will leave the LGBT alone because guess what? We have done nothing wrong. Bye. And that research has repeatedly demonstrated that religious people report more prejudice against homosexuality when compared to non-religious people. Because see, there are straight people who are non-religious, and what a coincidence most of the time. For the most part, most of the time they leave you alone. Religious people have an attitude problem. I feel like it's true. They are more homophobic to the LGBT community than straight people who comes from no religion. So I think a lot of religious people should take a look in the mirror right now and kind of take responsibility for the fact they're participating in brain harassment in innocent people, because again, loving someone is not a crime, it is not abuse, they have done nothing wrong. And if maybe if you're happy in your life as a straight man or woman, you are not miserable in your life, you will not waste your time to be obsessed with the LGBT community. I mean, what is wrong with you? Indeed, for each of the three great monotheistic faiths of the world, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, it has been shown that the stronger people adhere to them and the more strictly they are guided by the rules of conviction, the more they said they are towards homosexuality. Okay? Although the relationship between religious involvement and attitudes toward the LGBT community is well established, scholars continue to debate the way this relationship comes about. So that study, if you want to read more about it, strong believers showed more negative attitude than moderate or skeptical believers. The article explained that some religious teaching promote traditional family structure, which is nothing wrong with that, but the moment you cross the line of being homophobic, now you are the problem, sweetheart. Strict gender roles and the idea that homosexuality is sinful, but the pedophile rapist in the Christian church that is forgiven and allowed to come back when he raped 10 different children is not the problem. Do you see the attitude of straight people? Isn't that suspicious to you? I mean, LGBT gay men lesbian have done nothing wrong. They're not a rapist, they're not a pedophile. They're just in love with their counterpart, their partner. But they face more harassment, bullying than a pedophile priest or pastor at the church that at least raped I don't know how many teenagers and children. And him is not even fired from the church and is allowed to come back and be forgiven. But isn't he the real sinner? I mean, this is why sometimes I don't like straight people and the hypocrisy. This is ridiculous. A central argument is that patriarchal religious systems strongly influence attitude towards sexuality. The study explained that men and women are expected to follow traditional gender roles. Homosexuality is seen as validating these roles. Example of traditional beliefs mentioned: women should care for children, men should lead, women should obey men, masculinity and femininity should remain separate. The article says homosexuality is often viewed as a threat to this traditional structure, which is true. Most of these religious people, the wife has to cook, be the maid, cook and clean. The husband is the leader and the wife submits and follows. I don't have a problem with that if it's all in respect and love. But when they start hating, being homophobic, being in the LGBT business, that's a problem. What you going to do if your child is gay and lesbian? Reject them? Kick them out of the house? Abuse them? Be violent? Or will God teach you, isn't it, to be loving and compassionate with empathy? So normally what you should do is have a heart and soul and show kindness to your kids if they ever come out as a gay man or as a lesbian. Because all of them go to church and to preach the love of God, but a lot of them, there is stories out there that a gay man come out and his father was like a Christian beats him up. Didn't the Bible teach you to love your neighbor? There's a lot of contradictory texts in the Bible, by the way. There is good and bad. But I'm sure you can find some scriptures when they say that you have to love the neighbor and love your family and stuff like that. Is the love with us in the room? I would like to know. And religion used to cause fear in the LGBT community. Fear and religious control. The research suggests that religion can create fear around homosexual thought. That's when, remember, a lot of religious people and non-religious, the straight people, I was shocked in the United States of America. You can find hundreds, if not thousands, conversion camps. The parents are paying to send the children to force them to not be gay anymore, to not be lesbians. Even there were documentaries, I think on Netflix, something about like Pray the Gay Away. I don't remember, I need to find that, put it there. A lot of also great documentaries that were exposing that some people, even if they were gay or lesbian, they still wanted to be welcome and come back in the church. But all the church was homophobic. The church pretend we accept everyone, you're all welcome. And some people still want to be Christian, but they're like, I can't come in the church anymore because since I came out as gay or lesbian, like the entire church and its people there and the members of the church hate me so much, I feel bad and guilty, like I'm the one in the wrong, so I have to leave. But some of these people, they still want to be Christians. Just to tell you how trash those people are. But I think you can find on the internet, really rare, but there's some churches who are doing the right thing for once, decency, when this is churches who are known to be open to welcome the LGBT community, because some LGBT people are tired of religion, they don't want to go to the church, and we should respect that. No one is forced to be religious. I mean, if you have terrible bad experience with Pastor Price or your own family member who are from the church or your friends or people you meet there, you're not forced to go to the church anymore. But there's some people who still have this need and want to practice their faith, who still believe in God, and they couldn't come to the church anymore because like literally everybody was bullying them and hating on them, like they committed a crime for being a lesbian or for being gay, but so they couldn't come to the church. So there's like a few rare churches like, around this world who are openly pro-LGBT+, welcoming of the LGBT. But also I've seen a lot of hypocrites who were caught because this new era of social media, everything is broadcasted on the internet, and a lot of these churches were caught by people, so they faced backlash for having homophobic attitudes, and they were spreading hate toward the LGBT, like you're not allowed to come to church if you're gay or lesbian. And then when they got caught, now they want to pretend to change quickly the story, the hypocrites, and they want to say, oh, now you're welcome to the church, actually, which is that's hypocrisy, period, because they got caught, and it's not because of God or they had an awakening, they had redemption, they felt sorry, they understood the story better, they took time to listen to LGBTQ plus people's story. No. They got backlash, they didn't want to lose members of the church, they didn't want them to go, and they didn't want to lose the money, because remember, a lot of people are passionate about their God and going to the church, and they gain a lot of money to the pastor price into the church. And some of these pastor price are hypocrites, they care more about greed and money than the God they talk about. So think about that, make sure if you're the LGBT, you're still religious, believe in a God, that you'll find the right church. Not the church quickly, like when they get caught, oh my God, now we welcome the LGBTQ plus community. You're not sick, you're not feeling anybody. Bye-bye. Thank you. So the research suggests that religion can create fear around homosexuality through condemnation in a religious discourse. Also, let's not talk about these Bible studies when your parents force you to go with a praise pastor, to listen to his preaching and sermons, because it's like a mini conversion therapy. I mean, they're paying that pastor, that price, manipulate my child so they become gay again. Like, allez, throw everything, maybe it will stick, all the Bible verses, my son is gay, and my daughter, she's a lesbian, then he will come back. Also, I have terrible stories of people thinking you are demonically possessed because you're gay and lesbian, and the priest pastor with that son's daughter family came in the church, and for hours in the church was to exorcise the demon of that son's daughter. And that son's daughter was so exhausted of them not going away and leaving them alone that they had to pretend and act and pretend it was true, they were possessed by a demon, so they were fake acting this. Imagine embarrassment. Like, as a parent, a pastor priest, you should be embarrassed. Like, you forced your kids, your time is up, but you forced your kids to stay like 4-5 hours in the church, and you will not leave them alone as long as they don't pretend to act, to pretend I'm the sinner of the bad guy of the show, and as long as the demon doesn't come out, I cannot be whole again and straight again. How dumb and retarded is that thinking as a parent, pastor priest? I'm sorry, but bye. You really think, do they really delusionally believe that that's it? In one afternoon, they took the gay lesbian demon away. Now you straight miracle, the priest pastor, magical power, casting spells, the power of God, Jesus Christ, hallelujah. He took the gay and the lesbianism out of you. And because you're a demon and sinner and you search the bad guy. But this shocked me. I think it was like Christians who said that story, that they had to be exorcised and the demon has to come out, to the point they refused to, the son, the daughter went to this church, and like They refused to leave me alone. I couldn't leave the church. Everybody was harassing me. So I had to pretend to act. So the session will end. So it will end. And I could go and leave the church. They would not let me go. So I had to pretend I was possessed by a demon and I was the bad guy, a sinner, because the pastor pressed my pants and all the people there would not leave me alone. This is what they said. This is crazy. Insane. So yeah, fear and religious control. Teaching about sin, fear of punishment or hell. They love to use that also. Pressure from religious community. But sometimes you have an entire religious group who pretend, let's say you're Christian, you're Jewish, you must think that them. They harass you. Like I also seen people's story. People went to Monday business at the church. They were harassed to be straight again. Like the entire church and all its members. Some of these gay men and lesbians were stalked and harassed by members of their own church, y'all. They were stalked, gang stalked, and harassed bullied to be straight again. Almost they make that person feel like if you want to keep coming to the church, you better change, switchy, and you better come back straight, If not, you're not allowed to come to the church. Audacity. So pressure from religious communities. The article describes how religious message can spill over into personal beliefs, causing people to reject or fear their own sexuality. Well, that's what they do, bad influence, but I'm sure they all think that they go have the show and they're the decent one and you're the sinner, the one, let's exorcise you, get the demon out of you, This is especially important for lesbian and bisexual women raised in conservative environment because even gay men, but the video is about lesbians and bisexuals. Comphet, lesbians. They may fear rejection from family or church, which is sad. We all want love and community. We all want to have friends and family and a lover. But if the people supposed to love you reject you, demon, sinner, conversion therapy, this is insane. People acting like you're the bad guy, you can't even feel comfortable around them, like you committed a crime. What the fuck? So they may fear rejection from family or church. That's why some of those kids growing up pretend to still be straight. They do what their family and friends wanted, what the church wanted, but deep down they know that's not my real family. Even if it's my blood family, that's your real parents and friends. Real people who love you will love you for your authentic self. They will not love you under some only circumstances or if you bow down to them and you listen to them, even if they're wrong, They must suppress their identity, what I was talking about, yes. You erase your authenticity, who you are. You become a toy, a puppet on strings to please your family. It creates codependent people-pleasing attitude. A lot of religious people, they create in children that are people-pleaser, codependent, who become slave of their family, and I think it's sad, They may feel guilt for exploring same-sex attraction. Yeah, people make you feel guilty, like you have done something wrong. But but you have done nothing wrong because you didn't abuse anybody. Let's remember that. But that pastor had done something wrong when he raped those people in the church and he was still forgiven. But you're not forgiven about your sinner for loving someone. You didn't rape anybody, you didn't abuse. You just love somebody. This is insane. And we need new rules in those churches because they all, yes, I said it, the LGBTQ+, a big apology. I want to see you bow down on your knees. Not just Christian, Jewish, and Muslim, homophobes. I want to see you begging on your knees and apologize to the LGBTQ+ community, because some of this LGBTQ+ community are your children, your cousins, your brother, your sister, and you're bullied, harassed your own sister, your own cousin, your own brothers. Who the fuck you think you are? Bye! Also, this article about religion talk about authoritarianism and obedience. You have to obey. Why? We're gonna burn in the lake of fire? Wow, I love it at this point. No, I'm still going in paradise because God loves us. You are not God, the religious people. Who are you to speak on God? You are not Him. I had a conversation with Him. No, that's not true. You are delusional. Go take your meds, sweetheart. Thank you. Does study links homophobia with right-wing French is my first language, you can tell. Authoritarianism, which includes obedience to authority. What authority? That's why I don't like authority. Sometimes the authority is wrong, is corrupt, is a lie, and you the truth. So why would you obey someone that is a lie and corrupt to the bone? Strict moral rules, hostility towards people who break social norms. Okay. The article argues that some religious environments encourage obedience and discourage questioning authority. This can increase intolerance towards the LGBTQ plus community. The study also found boys were generally more negative towards homosexuality than girls. Religious boys, especially Muslim boys in the study, showed the strongest negativity. Okay, well, I think even Christian and Jewish, no discrimination, you know. But again, girls the diva, less homophobic than men in the church, even if they raised to be homophobic. But still in the wrong, okay? Researchers suggest this happens because masculinity is more rigidly controlled, patriarchal culture punish men more strongly for gender non-conformity, homosexuality challenge male dominance and traditional masculinity. Social pressure and community influence. The article also found that schools with stronger religious populations had lower acceptance of homosexuality. What a surprise! Bye! Peer groups and religious communities reinforce these attitudes. The audacity. This means prejudice is not only individual, it also socially learned and maintained. Well, they don't want it to go away. They want to keep being homophobic and live the dream, y'all, where they put all the LGBTQ plus people in a nightmare. Important nuance, the researcher note that not all religious people are homophobic. Thank you. At least some decent people. Oh wow. Surprise, surprise. Some believers interpret religion in compassionate and open-minded ways. That's why I was talking earlier about the church that are open to the LGBTQ plus community. Thank you guys, some decency for once. You are into the diva. The rest of those churches and establishments are trash. So the article does not claim religion automatically causes hatred, but rather that certain traditional and patriarchal interpretation of religion are linked to negative attitude towards the LGBTQ plus community. Another reason you might be Comphet or think you're straight is also because you want to have children. I said that more in the past. There is new way now for two women and lesbians to have children. I'm just saying a woman who still thinks she's straight, but deep down she knows she's not, but she loves children and she wants to have children because of motherhood. So some women want motherhood more than anything, so stay with men. And that's when I thought about the song, all that she wants is another baby, she's gone tomorrow. No. Women who want motherhood stay in heterosexual relationship longer. I mean, logic, they want to have children. But later realize that they are lesbian, bisexual. Comphet. So their life is kind of delayed. I don't think maybe they don't regret it that much in the sense that they would not have had those children, or they would have maybe adopted IVF with a sperm donor. But later on, you know. Because at the time, remember, they still think they're straight. So they probably thought when they was younger, there was no other way to have children because they couldn't see it as a possibility to be a lesbian. So the team in the video is also why would they be in competition with you? Because we mostly think it's for a man, which is true sometimes. Those women compete for a man's attention. But maybe because they have daddy issues and they want approval and attention, that's another video, but that's not this one. Because it's a way to desperately get your attention because they desire you as another woman, you both women, but do not know how to explain and express it. They desire because of shame. What shame? You go back, rewind my video about the patriarchal family growing up in traditional family, in the patriarchal society, coming from a religious background, which is understandable. How do you say that in English? Understandable. You cannot know if you didn't experience any lesbian relationship with anybody. You grew up in straight household. How could you know? And coming from patriarchal, misogynistic families. That's why. So the phenomenon described where a woman who may be experiencing compulsory heterosexuality engage in competitive behavior with other women, ostensibly for the attention of a man. I mean, that's what you think because she's straight, while actually fixating on the attention of a woman is a complex intersection of social performance, internalized norms, and suppressed desire. Let's go back to the shame, religious patriarchy, being raised in this type of family, traditional roles, gender conforming. The concept of compulsory heterosexuality, a term famously coined by Adrienne Rich. Go back to when I described to you what Comphet is. That term, that word was created by her. Thank you, Diva. Posits that heterosexuality is not an innate preference per political institution enforced by patriarchal society to ensure women's dependence on men. Within this framework, women are socialized to view men as the primary focus of their romantic and sexual validation. When a woman is experiencing this pressure finds herself attracted to other women, she may attempt to reconcile those feelings with her societal conditioning by performing heterosexual competition. In this dynamic, the men often serve as a social shield or a prop. By competing with other women for that man's attention, this individual maintains the appearance of conformity to heteronormative standards, which protects her from the social stigma associated with lesbianism. However, the intensity of a focus, often manifesting as an obsession with the other woman's approval, proximity, or reaction, suggests that the competition is actually a displacement of her own desire for that woman. The men become a secondary figure, a background character, if you will, while the real emotional and erotic stakes are located in the interaction between the two women, even if the other woman doesn't like her. You know, that woman lies to herself that she's straight, use that man, pretend I'm competing for that man, but actually she desires that woman. But even it doesn't matter if the woman likes her back or not, she's doing that to fulfill her own desire and, like it said, erotism, to explore safely a sexual orientation while still lying she's doing it for the man. You know what I'm saying? Do you understand? Okay. This behavior is frequently observed in environments where women are encouraged to view one another as rivals for male validation. By framing a fixation on another woman as a competitive struggle for a man, the individual can safely explore her attraction without acknowledging it as such, as the rules of the interaction remain within the bounds of heterosexual courtship. This creates a lesbian continuum where the intimacy between women is masked by the performance of traditional gender roles, allowing for a deep, volatile, emotional connection that is nonetheless denied in its true name. So that woman is lying, Comphet, but it's for the man, she loves him so much. Maybe. The psychological toll of this performance is significant. I mean, it must be exhausting and consuming for those women, or if you were the one doing it, let's say that you have to lie to yourself and pretend that you're competing with this woman for that man you love so much and that man is who you're obsessed with. But then let's say you get the man. Why are you constantly being obsessed with that woman? You know, question yourself. The psychological toll of its performance is significant because the attraction is never explicitly acknowledged. You gotta love straight Comphet women in denial. The individuals that women may experience intense frustration, jealousy, and confusion, often projecting these feelings on the other woman under the guise of rivalry. She's doing it just because she loves them so much. Okay. Are you still obsessed with the other girl still, even if you got the man that you wanted? Girl, bye. This cycle of chasing and competing with women who are perceived as straight is a common trope in queer literature and sociological studies, reflecting the difficulty of navigating desire in a society that demands the prioritization of men needs above all else. Which gets us to the end of this video. If you like this video, please support this channel for more videos like this, because it's really hard to go in the algorithm, mostly when you start your YouTube channel. So it would be kind if you could like the video, share it on social media, comment, and thank you guys. So in the end, what are the signs you can look for that a woman might be down low, Comphet, a straight woman in denial? Because I had women who had straight women who had Comphet act weird, like towards me. But me, I'm a lesbian. I'm not unavailable or like straight. Even if let's say I don't like her, but she's not my style or my type. But I'm not your punching bag for some of the straight women, because you can have the honesty to admit your own sexual orientation. But I'm glad if I could give you a lesbian awakening. Thank you. I did this little TikTok, you can follow me on my account there. 10 signs a woman is DL, she pretends to be straight but is gay on the down low. What is the first sign? She's extremely protective and possessive of her friends. So you might be a friend, or she might have some friends, and you can see all the time with the female friends as a woman, she's extremely protective and possessive of them, and she wants her friends to herself at all times. Sign number 2, she talks down on any man you date, even if he's decent and tries to keep you, and she tries to keep you to herself. Those type of women who are straight when denial, lesbian or down low, they secretly are jealous in competition with the man that you're dating if you're straight, and she would try to make him good. Even let's say he's decent. A lot of men are trash, but let's say this one is decent. But she will try to make him the bad guy in your eyes, to criticize and to spread rumors, to spread lies about him, because she wants you to break up, because she wants to bump coochies, you know. She wants to date you. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. You should not be ashamed of that. You just have to be honest. And you're not allowed to destroy the relationship of somebody else because you're spreading lies, and it's not good, okay? Y'all need to stop. You either do your bisexual or your lesbian coming out, but you're gonna leave lesbian and straight people alone. And thank you. 3, she copies you and is obsessed with you. Sometimes it's jealousy, sometimes it's not that she's a lesbian, she likes you, she could be straight. She likes the same man as you, or she wants to have your personality. Sometimes it's a destiny swap. So if you want to watch my video about somebody, she's not lesbian, she just wants to replace you, she wants to be you, she's a narcissist, she wants your life, she wants to walk and talk like you, she wants to live in your skin. You watch my video about destiny swap, 6 signs somebody is trying to destiny swap with you, but that's another video. But it might be that she is a lesbian in denial, she copies you and is obsessed with you. And sometimes it's jealousy, but sometimes they just want to fuck you. Because remember, before the envy, jealousy come, what is the first feeling? Why would somebody who want to walk and talk like you? It means they think you're gorgeous, you're beautiful, you're talented. You have everything going on for yourself. They inspire by you. They have admiration till it turns into envy, jealousy. Sometimes it could just be a lesbian in denial. 4, she tries to this one, exhausting. She tries to date every man or woman she sees that you like or like you, or she can do that. If you're a lesbian, she's not gonna try to date every lesbian that you date because she is ashamed of herself, she doesn't want to do a coming out. But yeah, if you're a straight woman, she will try to date every man that you said you like, try to flirt with him because she's secretly in love with you or likes you, so she doesn't want you to date somebody else. And what is sad is sometimes, like, please stop being an hypocrite, because as a woman, let's say she's your friend, you have you're single and you try to talk and date this man, and then she runs to date him first, but you told her you like him. So this is a lesbian in denial, but completely, and it's starting to look abusive. Because let's say you really a straight woman for real, she cannot force you to be a lesbian, and she has to respect you and leave you alone. But if she doesn't stop, it means she doesn't want you to have any love in your life, any boyfriends, and she wants to destroy everything about you, which is not fair, you know. Have the honesty you admit you gay as fuck, you're obsessed with that woman. Thank you, goodbye. 5. She used religion to avoid sexual intimacy with men, which is kind of smart, it's kind of logical. I mean, if you're a real lesbian deep down and you know and you're not straight and you're disgusted by men, but suddenly I'm Christian, hallelujah, we don't understand. So then you can say, you know, buddy, you're gonna wait after the wedding to have sex with me. I don't have sex with men before marriage. And because most men, they don't want to commit and they don't want to marry you, but they leave you alone, then you never have to have sex with him, even if you date him. And she loves that shit, the lesbian who could be a Christian, because then she can use religion to lie, pretend to be straight, but she doesn't have to have sex with him. We have to give her the credit that she kind of smart, you know. She kind of a mastermind, a little bit. 6. She is shy and intimidated around you. Yeah, people who like you, this naturally, even if it's just friendship wise, it might not be romantically, let's not get delusional, but it happens also romantically. She's shy and intimidated around you because she likes you and she wants you to like her back, so she tries to be on her best behavior and to look good in front of you and to look kind and to look nice, because she wants to be liked back by you because she secretly likes you. 7. She remembers everything you tell her in details, because when someone is obsessed with you and they like you, maybe your family, your friends don't remember everything you said, but she's so obsessed, she's gonna remember every little thing you said because she's totally obsessed and like you. It could be a sign. Again, let's not be delusional. That's my experience of what happened to me. But I don't want you to be delusional. I think you are around people who are obsessed with you and want to be a lesbian with you. Don't make the shoe fit. If it doesn't fit, Cinderella, you're not Cinderella. That's what I mean. Okay? 8. She likes you, so she subconsciously adapts to your mimics and word lingo and start acting like you. Again, sometimes it's not she's a lesbian, she's just envious of you, she wants to replace you, she wants your soul, your essence. So, you know, if I move my hand like this, she will do the same. But it's not because she's really lesbian or in love with me. It's because she wants to be me and replace me. You can again go watch my video about Destiny Swap. But naturally, there have been studies that if you date your lover, your romantic partner, or you don't date her, they naturally adapt to your mimics. Let's say you talk to them, you start, you know, putting your arms like this. Naturally, that person, they will naturally mimic you and do this. To feel like, you know, we have a bond and mirroring you. Naturally, subconsciously. Or they were not used to say some words. That's why I say the word lingo. We all have different mimics, the way we move our body and that we speak. And they were not used to say some words before and act some type of way. And now they do it because they like the way you act. So they think they're gonna look relatable to you and be liked by you more. It might work, it might not work, who knows. 9. She wants to spend time alone with you all the time and act like your boyfriend. Mostly, you will know if she's a lesbian on a down low, but if you're actually friend with her, you know, she criticizes all the men that you date if you're straight, and she acts like your man, and she brings you flowers, she come pick you up from work. She always used to buy cute stuff and lingerie, perfume. I'm like, okay. A lot of stuff like that makes you think that's what my boyfriend would do if I was dating him, or if you're lesbian, if my girlfriend would do that. But she says she's straight, but it looks like you want to be my man, you know. 10. She tries to find excuses to get you into a threesome and pretend it's for the man. She does that. A lot of straight women, girl Brian, said it's straight that she dates a man, she has a boyfriend, but she keeps trying to get you in a threesome with her and a boyfriend, which is weird and suspicious, you know. But you can think sometimes it's the boyfriend who wants it, which sometimes it's true. So she's not a lesbian, again, don't make her shoe fit, you know, Cinderella. But sometimes it's her asking and she's begging and demanding at this point that you have a threesome with her and a boyfriend. To look sick, you know, to make people believe I'm just so cool, I'm doing threesome. But it's not really true. It's because she's tired of a rat-ass boyfriend. The sex life is not good. She probably think about women when she's having sex with him. She has to close her eyes and think about a woman, probably. So, but she's still ashamed. She doesn't want to come out yet. She doesn't have the strength, the courage to do that. So she wants maybe to explore sexuality, to make sure she's a lesbian, a bisexual before she comes out. So she tried to propose to her friends and other people to have a threesome with a man and boyfriend. It might work, it might stick, you might want to do it or not. But you have to be aware that sometimes she's a lesbian, she still have a crush with you, on you, and she likes you. It's not the boyfriend who had this idea. Let's ask her to join the threesome. It was her idea because she's bored with that man. Again, she probably think about women when she has sex with him. She probably close her eyes. She probably really mean, and a lot of lesbians will know when you a lesbian in denial. You can find an amazing boyfriend. It could treat you like gold. You will still be very mean to him. Not because you're an abuser, not because you're a bad person, but because you don't like him. Deep down in your heart, you know deep down you like girls. As a girl yourself. And maybe you also come from a patriarchal family, religious family, and the shame of it all. But you're allowed to come out. I mean, it's 2026. We are not in the past anymore. And you know, it's just the way it is. It's time to live in your truth, to come out and to love yourself. And that's it. I have nothing else to say. I think I will talk about everything that I wanted in this video. I hope I forgot nothing. Again, I know I have to work on my English pronunciation and accent. You can hear the French in all of it. I hope you guys understood everything that I said, almost. And again, thank you divas for watching. You can support the channel by commenting, liking, sharing. And if you're more interested in videos like that, tell me what should be the next title or tip. Thank you guys. I will see you divas in my next video. Bye.